It's America's final act in Afghanistan, its longest war, and it involves getting many Americans, many Afghans loyal to America, to run a kind of gauntlet from the center of Kabul up to the main airport, where they hope to get flights to the United States, maybe elsewhere, and start a new life in safety. But for that, they must go through an extraordinary challenge.
What should be the easiest drive in Kabul is the reason the city is on edge. Head up the main airport road since Monday when I drove it, and you run into the Taliban. Then they were beating people back, perhaps to clear the civilian runway, crowded with desperate people then. By Wednesday, it had gotten worse when they were clearly stopping people from using their escape to America and accosting CNN. Taliban controlled that road, the entrance at the end of it, and the road to the left. Now many are trying to get in from the North Road, but that's led to devastating scenes at the North Gate. When I was there, the crush was dangerous, but the numbers have just grown further still. At night, stun grenades have been thrown when huge crowds still brave roaming Taliban in the dark in the hope the numbers at the gate have dropped. And in the day, it got nastier still. There are moments of hope, but they carry risk. When people see one success, they might want to try the same thing en masse. Later in the day, US troops had to repel the crowd. At other gates, what seemed to be British soldiers struggled to push back crowds, and huge queues have formed, blocking the streets. America has a numbers problem, getting enough people on, but also claiming huge progress, while not really knowing how many priority cases they're really seeking.
How many American citizens remain in Afghanistan?
I don't know.
What we do know is that 6,000 people are now at the airport. 6,000 people have been able to make it, have made it through the processing, and as of a couple hours ago, we had received only a small handful of reports otherwise from American citizens.
Inside, it is messy, but there are flights, often many of them, where lives are walked onto C-17s and changed forever when the doors close. The story of the airport, the last place America controls in Afghanistan, where the chaos outside the wire means the promises inside fall perilously short.
Now, the US talked of lofty goals of trying to get 5,000 to 9,000 people flown out every day, and they claimed that they have now on that airport 6,000 people processed and ready to get on aircraft. That would be extraordinary if that had indeed occurred. But they do also admit, as you heard there, that they don't know how many Americans are out there in Afghanistan hoping to get out. Extraordinary not to have that basic number there to quantify how big a task is ahead. And so for the days ahead, there are concerns that once again in Afghanistan, the reality of the ground, those terrifying scenes outside the airport even today, are simply not matched or recognized by the statements from American officials. Nick Payton-Walsh, CNN, Doha.
Many Afghans who managed to board a flight are facing uncertain futures. Some have no idea where they'll actually end up. Governments worldwide still finalising details on which countries will host refugees. NATO foreign ministers will meet in the coming hours to address the crisis. What we know now is that the US says it will take in 30,000 Afghans, the UK and Canada 20,000 each. Meanwhile, Turkey's president is calling EU leaders to take more responsibility, saying his country will not be Europe's refugee warehouse. Waves of Afghan evacuees pouring into Dubai's international airport on military planes. The UAE has become an evacuation hub and the first stop for many as they begin their new lives in new lands. CNN's Eleni Giokos is there to show us what the evacuees experience as they arrive.
This Royal Air Force aircraft carrying passengers from Kabul just landing here in Dubai World Centre. Now, according to officials, around 1,600 evacuees from Afghanistan. So these are eligible Afghans with paperwork and visas, as well as British citizens have been evacuated over the last 4 days and coming here to the UAE. Upon arrival, these people, the passengers, are given medical assistance, they're tested for COVID and given, of course, food and much needed water. If you look at the expression on the passengers' faces, you see almost pain and numbness and a sense of trauma. And one only needs to reflect on the chaotic scenes around Kabul airport. Just getting to the airport was a Herculean task. Trying to get through those Taliban checkpoints and then trying to get through the airport checkpoints to get finally on aircraft leaving Kabul and then to come to an airport like this where you are seeing assistance all round. Some people carrying just plastic bags with their belongings, some just carrying garbage bags, others being able to take some of their belongings, and we're seeing some luggage being carried out. You've got to remember, this is a military aircraft. This wasn't made to handle passengers, for a long flight. So you can only imagine what the experience must be like. But the only semblance of hope I can say, and just normalcy that I've seen, is when you see toddlers and children that are accompanying these very traumatized adults running around and playing and smiling. It kind of gives you a sense that these people escaped a very hopeless situation. Eleni Jarkos, CNN, Dubai.
Now, the US says it is working overtime to approve special immigrant visas for the Afghans fleeing the Taliban. A Homeland Security official says it is all hands on deck situation, but the visa program is said to be bogged down by systemic issues, bureaucracy. One US official told CNN the special immigrant visa process is, quote, very slow, but there's been very little attention to fix it. The program began in 2009 for Afghan citizens and their families who worked for the US government. Meanwhile, Mexico started processing Afghan refugee asylum applications on Wednesday. Mexico has not said how many refugees it plans to accept. CNN's Jemana Karache joins me now live from Istanbul with more on all of this. And let's start with what is frankly a mess at the airport. And now you've got the US negotiating with the victor, the Taliban, to get, quote, safe passage for people just to get to the airport, let alone get in. It's bizarre, really.
It's quite stunning, Michael, to see the U.S. government, the U.S. military having to negotiate with the Taliban, having to rely on their assurances to be able to run this operation, to keep it going. We understand from U.S. officials that they've got several channels that are open with the Taliban. They are in constant contact with them to try and ensure that the operation at the airport continues. These evacuations, we understand from U.S. officials, it is the top U.S. commander on the ground who is leading these negotiations, talking to what has been described as his Taliban counterpart. But one of the issues that U.S. officials say that they have been facing, that yes, they've got these several channels open, that they are continuing these negotiations, and yes, some evacuation flights are taking place. One of the issues has been they don't really still to this moment know the structure when it comes to the Taliban, who is controlling what, and whether whatever is being negotiated between these commanders is actually being communicated down to the fighters who are controlling the checkpoints, who are controlling the streets. And this is perhaps one of the reasons we are seeing what we're seeing from our team on the ground, the reports of people facing these obstacles, harassment, beatings in their attempts to get to the airport, and many reports of people being blocked by the Taliban. Obviously, Michael, after what has been described as this catastrophic operation and this evacuation at the airport, U.S. officials are really trying hard to project this image that things are under control, that things are starting to run smoothly. This is at least the messaging we're seeing coming from D.C. over the past couple of days. Of course, the reality on the ground, as we are seeing, is very, very different. We have to wait and see what it's like today. But we understand a short time ago, a White House official announcing that they have managed to get 3,000 people evacuated on Thursday. That's, he says, includes 350 U.S. citizens. There's also family members, applicants for the special immigrant visa, the SIV, and their family members, and other vulnerable Afghans. They were evacuated on 16 C-17 planes out of Afghanistan, and they say that the U.S. military managed to facilitate 11 other charter flights. But, you know, Michael, as you have been discussing with your guests, getting to the airport is just one of those challenges. It's a very, getting people on these flights is just one part of getting out of the country. You've got that very, very dangerous journey of trying to get to the airport where people are facing the challenges, and U.S. officials have made it clear they are only sticking with their operations at the airport. They don't have the capability to go out, pick up people, and get them to the airport, Michael.